What you guys got another video. Windows Update is now breaking computers again. Windows 11 Update KB5094126 is causing severe boot failures, BitLocker recovery loops and blue screen of deaths on business computers. If you've got a HP EliteBook or Dell Precision or one of these PCs or laptops, then be very careful because you're particularly vulnerable due to the insufficient EFI partition space for the new boot components and secure boot certificates that are being rolled out in Windows 11 updates. The June update also disrupts OneDrive integration and Microsoft Word third-party software compatibility despite patching 200 security vulnerabilities in that patch. Now, Microsoft have said that this update is very important because it does patch over 200 security vulnerabilities with their operating system, including several critical flaws and zero-day exploits. It also introduces new features such as low latency profile and also the associated performance improvements. But if your PC is no longer going to boot up, or you end up in a BitLocker recovery screen and it's going into reboot loops with the BitLocker recovery screen coming up all the time, then this is not going to be helpful for a lot of people that are not very tech savvy on how to fix or work around this issue. And this is one of the biggest flaws of BitLocker when you introduce a enforced BitLocker encryption on drives during the setup phase of Windows. Some people are not tech savvy enough to understand what BitLocker is and the problems it can cause if you lose your key and you can't then recover your data because it will be all encrypted. And there's nothing more frustrating when Windows 11 no longer starts normally. Instead, they encounter blue screens or the BitLocker recovery screen on startup, and they don't know how to get rid of it. Now, this is not the first time Microsoft have had issues with BitLocker and also the EFI partition. These are the affected models so far, and there's been over 150 plus reports in less than 48 hours with this known issue with BitLocker recovery screen, or black screen of death, or even blue screen of death. And some people have said they've even have issues with the EFI partition being too small during the update process, and this has caused major problems as well. And this is not the first time that Microsoft have had these issues. Now, I'm not 100% sure why people would want to use BitLocker anyway to encrypt your drive. I mean, what sort of data have you got on your drive that needs encrypting in the first place? It's not as if you work for the Secret Service. I understand there's a privacy concern with a lot of people, but to be honest, encrypting your drive is a bit risky because BitLocker has caused many problems in the past. Now, a lot of people have installed this update and they've had no issues at all, but it's only those brands of laptops and PCs and model numbers that have been plagued with this issue. I'm not sure why, but as you can see right here, it's installed perfectly fine on this system, and it's the KB5094126. And this update covers Windows 11 25H2 and Windows 11 24H2 and supposed to cover all the latest security fixes and improvements to Windows 11. And where some of these issues are coming from on the EFI partition is the older images that people are using at 100 megabyte EFI partition instead of the newer 500 megabyte to 1 gigabyte partition. And when Windows is updating the new boot certificate, what happens is there's insufficient space. If you have the older, smaller EFI partition that is 100 megabytes, it will fill up and you won't be able to install it, and this will cause a black screen of death or error. And tech websites like windowslatest.com has also publicized about this error as well, and they've also talked about how they've received over 150 plus reports of this error in the last 48 hours. So it is a real problem, and you can see the actual affected devices there. So what to do if your PC is not booting after a Windows 11 June 2026 update? Make sure you have backed up your BitLocker recovery key or use Microsoft account, which automatically secures and stores your key. Number 2, boot into your BIOS by pressing the escape or delete key or F2 key. And you need to do this before you see the OEM logo showing up on the screen when you're booting up the PC. This will take you into the BIOS and you will then be able to make changes to the BIOS. Number 3, in the BIOS, look for Secure Boot and disable it. You can be asked to enter your BitLocker key, which can be found in your Microsoft account if you have your BitLocker key tied to your Microsoft account, which you should do because it makes recovery a lot easier. If you've got it stored on a flash drive somewhere or you've got it printed out somewhere, you would need to use that key to be able to recover. Number 4, after disabling Secure Boot, exit the BIOS and boot to Windows. Once you're at the desktop, finally install all of the cumulative updates for that machine. Number 5, reboot and let it apply successfully. Number 6, go back to the BIOS and re-enable Secure Boot. You should now have the latest Secure Boot certificate installed on that system once you've done all of these steps. If you're still having issues and it's to do with the EFI partition, it means you have the smaller EFI partition of 100 megabytes, and this needs to be expanded to a larger size so you can roll out this update. And I've made videos showing you how to do that in the past, so you can check my channel for that. Personally, if it's me and you're just a home user and you don't have that much important stuff on your computer, I would really consider turning off BitLocker altogether and decrypt your drive. Because let's face it, it's not as if you've got anything of national security on your PC. And just so you know, the FBI, if they wanted to gain access to your drive with your BitLocker drive being encrypted, Microsoft will give them the key anyway to be able to decrypt that drive to see what's on it. So it's not as secure as you may think. So in all honesty, I just think it's more hassle to leave it encrypted because so many people lose their key and then they can't decrypt their drive, which means they lose all their data. Now, I don't think we can blame Microsoft completely for this issue because some of the blame has to be pointed at Dell and HP for allowing this issue to happen in the first place, seeing that it's happening to their devices and not anyone else's, because it's not happened to my device. So it's only affecting certain devices in HP and Dell systems. But that being said, it's still a pretty big issue, especially if people have lost their key or they don't know where their key is and they didn't even realize what BitLocker encryption is, because they will now lose their data, because Microsoft will not help you recover your data if you don't have a key. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, whether you encrypt your drive with BitLocker or whether you run into any issues. I think it will be helpful to other people. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. I appreciate the support and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.